Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Pendleton's June Planning Commission meeting. We don't have one absent tonight. Cheryl, the rest is present. I could ask the board for review of the minutes submitted. Additions or corrections? No, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Thank you, Brad. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of the minutes as submitted, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Okay, having no old business, we'll move to new business. I'll move the agenda around just a little bit. I do have an announcement to make. Item PC 06-032-026-01, a rezone petition from Ag to Small Lot Agriculture to Light Industrial, filed by Pete Batar. Formally withdrawn by Mr. Batar through his legal counsel on Tuesday, June 2nd. Town's been working and continues to work with our legal team to actively address this matter. It's the town's understanding that the commercial activity on the property has ceased. If you see otherwise, please provide that information to the staff in the planning department. You're welcome to stay. We want to let you know that the public hearing on this petition will not be heard this evening. Additionally, all resident letters, demonstrants regarding this matter have been distributed to all the relevant board and commission members, the town's legal team, and made part of the official record. So anything regarding this petition tonight won't be discussed at all. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Alice McCroffin. I understand that there was an meeting with Pete today that some members of the board attended.
Yes.
Can that be shared?
We had a lengthy discussion today with council and some of the members, their legal team. So we have issued a cease and desist letter to Mr. Batar. That's what this letter is stating there, for him to cease all business activities currently. We are in discussions to define.
Yeah, Mr. President, Commission, and then just to the public, I mean, at this time, the town has issued 2 code violation letters. As the president said, tonight, as of 2 days ago, Mr. Batar withdrew his petition to go forward. We had discussions with that. Only one member of the planning commission was present today during that with legal counsel. It was, again, settlement discussions only that we can't get into right now. But I can tell you we're actively working with the town, and we'll, as Mr. Pritchard indicated, the president, to the extent that there are any concerns from the public, please make those, be known to the town, and we'll follow up accordingly.
May I present a letter and pictures tonight in regard to this matter?
I don't think we're taking any presentations or anything tonight. We'd be happy to get it to Denise of the planning department tomorrow during the day.
Can you define what we should be looking for then?
Pardon me?
If we do want to submit something, can you define what, we should be looking for? Obviously, people over there, they can be over there, but what would we definitively need to be aware of?
I guess if you see any continued activity as far as operational or business activity, please let the
Packages.
anything. Yeah, they might get a package they might order a month ago.
Okay.
We see 4 cars over there, or 4 people, or airport. That's what we're trying to shut down. Okay. So with that said, not turning anybody off. You're welcome to leave if you want to stay, but we do have one small item discussed. Nothing regarding this petition at all. Okay, we'll move forward. I guess we got a couple more. We'll take a 5-minute recess. Thank you all for coming. What's that?
Thank you. So great.
That's okay.
We'll go ahead and call the meeting back to order, please. Thank you all. Resolution 2026-01 approving economic development plan Heritage Hub.
Good evening, President and Plan Commission members. So this is been in the works kind of over the last year, a little bit over a year ago. The town was approached by Pritha LLC. This is the developer for that master site plan Heritage Hub commercial subdivision. We'll kind of show it here, but I am here on behalf of not only the planning department, but also the redevelopment commission. This commercial subdivision here, as you see, got illustrated here on the zoning map. It's highlighted, outlined there in yellow. It is zoned general business. This particular petition or this agenda item is regarding this 12-acre site. It is currently under site development for that commercial subdivision. Public utilities are being installed. There's a private drive as well that will service internally to the 5 lots that will eventually be developed. There at the very south end is a large storm detention pond, that has already been constructed and landscaped. And again, then there is the private roadway there that then services the 5 lots. So this here off of Henderson Way, the development will be accessed here kind of in a horseshoe shaped roadway. There are 3 outlots here to the north. And then on the south, then there are 2 larger lots here. Each of the lots there to the south are about 2 acres. The other 3 lots that will eventually be taken in by future tenants and developments, those are about 1.5 acre lots each individually. Around this subdivision in this development, there are similar uses in nature and context and intensity, those being general business as well as heavy business. You'll see kind of shaded in the purple there, where like McDonald's in the gas station area, those are zoned heavy business. So as you recall, about 2 years ago, your body had received a petition for a primary plat that was in September of 2024. And then they later came in about a year ago, fall of last year. They then submitted their secondary plat that was reviewed administratively through the planning department and the technical advisory committee. And then that also too was approved in October of 2025. This developer, he has also since then submitted their site development plan for the first lot. It is actually lot 4, which is the southeast parcel here. That is then future home of our first hotel, Fairfield by Marriott. They have also submitted their building permit. That one is kind of in final review and permitting processes for that. So over the last year, the town representatives, we have been working through our redevelopment commission and those processes that are governed by state statute. Alongside our town attorney, Dinsmore and his team, we've got Rob Shine, Catherine Finello, also has been very instrumental in this process, and Dan O'Neill. And then we've also had a part of this review and evaluation process, the financial advisors with Reedy Financial, Matt Frishy, and also Brady Rogers have been a support for the town and town leaders. Also, we have one of our members of our RDC is also a town council member that has been a part of this review and development. So we have analyzed this in quite a great depth. Many hours have gone in from both town side as well as the developer side. The developer, the team there is Rakesh Patel, and his team is Parish Patel. And then he also has been working with Scott Frizzell, Doug Dalton, and Julie Bowling. They've been a part of all of these conversations, back and forth initiatives that have been taken on by both sides. If you recall, we had went through, I know this is a very unique. We don't get these very often for the town for these economic development agreements, but we did do this a few years ago with Serenity Development. So this is a very similar structure. It's set up a little bit differently, but the concept is still the same. It is a developer-backed bond. A developer-backed bond is a bond in which the town issues, but doesn't really take out. So the developer takes these bonds out, and they are the ones that are responsible for repayment of those bonds. The town simply pledges the tax revenue that is generated once and if this allocation area is established, then they take those tax revenues, pledge it towards that developer bond, and then that developer uses those for improvements on this particular site. We do want to show our appreciation and gratitude to Rakesh and his team. They have been very patient. They've been very understanding, as we have really taken a long time in discussions and analyzing this, evaluating it. There's been a lot of back and forth. There's been ask that the town has stepped up and said that, you know, that we want them to go back to the drawing board and come back to us. They've been very responsive to that, the entire process. We feel at this time it's ready to kind of start the presentation of this proposal for the various boards and commissions for your consideration. These type of decisions we do not take lightly. We've put a lot of due diligence into it, and every decision that we make, we want to make sure, and it's important to us and our boards and commissions, that the decisions that we make are for the betterment of our community. The measurement that we uphold to is we want to make sure that it promotes quality of life and also smart growth. And we do feel that Rakesh and his team shares those same objectives, you know, and has been very clear about that throughout the process. So as part of this economic development agreement process, there are several stops along the way. There's a lot of documentation that's been provided in your team's folders. We'll kind of touch on some of those, but if you have any questions about that, don't hesitate to ask myself or also Mr. Shine. You know, we're here to answer those questions that you have. But as far as those timelines, there are 7 stops along the way to kind of formalize this economic development agreement. So those are through our boards and commissions. So the first one was last week. We presented this to the Redevelopment Commission. At that time, they took a dive into the statutory requirements for this economic development agreement. So they have analyzed all of that, making sure that those several, I think there was probably 7 or 8 different criteria as a part of that plan, that those all have been met. They also then determined that this area is within an allocation area, or it's not within an allocation area, but it is in a development or redevelopment area that has been deemed so by the town. So in that declaratory resolution, they did sign off on that. They did adopt that declaratory resolution. Then the second stop is here with Plan Commission. So Plan Commission, we have before you tonight is an order approving the economic development plan. And the main gist behind that is this plan in line with the comprehensive plan, the unified development ordinance, our zoning ordinance, and say our interchange master plan. And so those envisions of the community, does this follow in line with what has been set forth by our community members? Then the next stop will go to, in a couple of weeks, Town Council. If this does give an adoption of this order being approved by your body, then it'll go to Town Council, and Town Council would then adopt in a resolution approving the same, that they're attesting to the fact that they do agree with your body that this does align with the goals and objectives of our community. Then from there, it goes to the Economic Development Commission. They dive into a little bit more of the financial piece of the proposal, the loan agreement, the bond purchase agreement, and then they also take and make a recommendation on the bond ordinance. And then from there, it'll go back to Town Council. Town Council will then have an introduction to the bond ordinance. And then from there in August, we go back to the Redevelopment Commission, and they confirm this declaratory resolution and basically, adopt and pledge this area, which we're going to talk about here in a minute, as an allocation area. And then it goes back to Town Council to finalize the bond. So along with that process, we'll kind of show you here with kind of at the end of the day, kind of what this proposal looked like. So Stephanie, if you want to go ahead and go to the next page. So when we were originally approached by this developer, they had, and we actually had thought that these parcels were already in the allocation area, that they were already established as a TIF district. We found out that they were not. We at best guess is that perhaps that area was anticipated to develop in a residential manner, that we were not tipping residential properties at that time, or it just might have just been something that just hadn't gotten to. But in getting this proposal, they have asked for our consideration of establishing the 5 main development parcels within an allocation area. So starting out, they had proposed, and so just kind of a forecast of what they envision in this area and on this commercial subdivision would be a retail space. And that retail space would be 3 outlots. One would be just general retail. The second, there is medical office. And then the third is then more of a kind of a restaurant, fast food type development. Then on the very south lots, then those 2-acre lots would be one starting out Fairfield by Marriott initially would be a build here in 26, 27. And then just looking at market and demand, looking at probably about 3 years, then looking at developing a second hotel on that site. Also a part of this process, I know a couple of you, the members on the Plan Commission board also serve on the Board of Zoning Appeals. So this came in through some variances and discussions there, and that took a couple of meetings that they really got to where there was some very detailed commitments as far as how this hotel would be designed, the architectural features that would be offered, and the aesthetics that would be offered to kind of mirror our historic downtown area and our historic community. So that is something that from the beginning that they've committed to, well, that'll kind of come into play in some of our conversations or discussions tonight. Then those rear, again, there's some of those details there as far as the size. Fairfield by Marriott, that one is looking at about a 4-story hotel, 97 rooms. We have aquatic fitness center, and then the lobby there. But that is going to be about 54,000 square feet, and then that second hotel eventually would be about 50,000 square feet as well. So in the discussions, just kind of a quick overview as far as how this proposal progressed. It started out that they were seeking, we can go ahead and go on down here to the next one. Originally, they were seeking 80%, 20% split, developer 80%, town 20% of all 5 lots. would be for the split of those tax revenues once they then generate after development. Then they came back and they offered then an 80-20 split for just the 2 hotel sites. And then 100% for the town to receive all the tax revenues generated on the 3 outlots then to the north. We asked them to come back again. We talked some more, and they ended up coming back with a 70-30 split. So a 70-30 split for just the hotel sites. The town receiving 100% of the TIF revenues for the 3 outlots to the north. And then they came back again and added to that a minimum taxpayer agreement. And then also $367,000 in trail improvements for Falls Point Business Park District there in that area. So that was what was presented to the Redevelopment Commission last week. And again, there's your term sheet, original documents, and kind of how all those developed. The financial analysis also is shown there in your packet. But a part of this process, we needed to assure that the statutory requirements were met. Those have all been satisfied. Also, a part of that analysis is that what we call a but-for test, that this development could not take place unless this economic development agreement was engaged. And a part of that, one of the biggest pieces, and I think was very key to town staff and town leaders and our RDC members, is that there was an enhanced aesthetic that this developer was asked to comply with through our boards. And that was with the hotel and what they brought. There was a brick, a variety of aesthetics, lighting, and so forth that was beyond the minimum standards of our UDO and our gateway overlay, just to be able to mirror the fabric of our community and meeting those corridor standards. But then also too, you'll see here, I wanted to point out here, and beyond that community walkability piece that they're adding, those architectural standards of design, and then also there is a high pressure gas line there that is 100% of the west end of those parcels. That is an 80-foot easement that has made that property undevelopable. It's been difficult to get developed by developers. So the Redevelopment Commission acknowledged that. And so at the end of the day, once all of this was analyzed, this created what we feel is equitable to not only the town, the developers, but the community at large. And what would be arrived at as far as the financial or the benefit for the community would be what it would have done if the hotels would not have been developed on this site. So when we were analyzing this, that was one of the things that kind of was a kind of aha, or a moment for us that we had to make sure that what the town would arrive at as far as tax revenue would have been if this site would have developed just all regular general retail, not having any hotels placed on that site. And so that was kind of our benchmark of what Reedy Financial looked at and made sure that we brought that in, through this agreement. So that being said, if you have any questions on that piece, happy to answer the questions that you have on that. But the role of Plan Commission is to determine if this area and how this developer plans to develop this land is congruent and complementary of our comprehensive plan. If this economic development agreement kind of meets then what, and we actually just went through an update in 2025. So if you want to go on down to the next slide there, Stephanie, this is our comprehensive plan future land use map. So if you look kind of in that, and it's kind of hard to tell, but here in that blue area, all the red here is where that property lies. That area is, so our zoning is or general business, but for the future land use map through our comprehensive plan, it's regional commercial. And the next slide kind of goes into a little bit of detail as far as what we envision what regional commercial is. But in that area, we go on down to the very bottom. Yep, keep on going. Yep. So there is identifiers of primary uses and secondary uses for our regional commercial. So primary would be commercial uses that are local or chain, dining restaurants, gas stations, convenience stores, big, could be in big box retail, entertainment establishments, hotels, office buildings, and healthcare facilities. So this is right out of our comprehensive plan. Secondary uses could be parks, schools, religious institutions, those institutional type uses. Another part of the comprehensive plan that touches in on these economic development agreements is our land use. And so for our land use, the two main objectives that are relative to this type of proposal is that the community did determine that their desire is to continue to proactively plan for development along our Interstate 69 corridor. And in that specifically is to explore a variety of public investments, such as infrastructure or tax incentives to promote development, and then also to utilize the I-69 master plan to guide development and future improvements. So. We all know our UDO and our zoning ordinance and our general business and those type of tables. But that is kind of a synopsis of kind of where we've come and what this proposal is. But if you have any questions, I don't know if Reedy is on the line. If nobody, okay. I will do my best to answer any of the financial questions if that comes up, but you would please.
Commission members, if I just may add one point of clarification. So the redevelopment commission met last week, and so as Denise indicated, just starting the process. So what was done in the declaratory resolution, which is part of what is for consideration this evening for your approval, is the first step in establishing an economic development area and an allocation area, which are the two lots that Denise was talking about. If you approve this order of the planning commission, that again has certain findings, that you're going to approve the declaratory resolution as well as the plan that redevelopment commission adopted. As Denise indicated, it'll then go to the council, the EDC, and then back to the redevelopment commission to confirm it. And in that process, we're also working through an economic development agreement that's going to memorialize all these terms as well as the bond documents. So this is just the first step or for this body. Second step in the process, but it'll take the next several weeks to get it to full creation of that. So yeah,
Yeah.
See this.
Yeah,
That is correct.
with respect to what's being asked here, now, we would anticipate, we are also in the process of working with Reedy Financial, the town is, to go and clean up various allocation areas. And we would anticipate at some point that we could be back this year to address these remaining lots, in a similar process, which would be setting up another economic development area and allocation area. But with respect to these two lots, you're correct. This is the only time we've seen before.
Two lots of the
For the two hotels, that is correct. Yes, we'd have to establish an allocation area and economic development area for the three outlots in the future, but yes.
So we don't get into financial computations on this board. But we are approving or could approve something that's a 30-70 split. So I'm assuming the computations to back that up are presented in the redevelopment commission by Reedy.
Yes, they did. They were here last week
Okay.
and Matt Frishy, he did present all the financial backing to that and yes, and went into that in great detail. So yes, they They did confirm that piece of that. That is kind of their role. Economic Development Commission will have a little bit more involvement in different ways on the financial piece of it. But yes, the role of Plan Commission is looking at the intended land use and how that is intended to develop, and does that complement then those planning documents and initiatives that this body has approved. Yeah, you're welcome. Go ahead, please, please.
Well, and again, I would just, one of the things the redevelopment commission did do is they made the specific statutory findings, which are set forth in the plan, that are required that, to start this process again of just establishing an economic development area and an allocation area for the 2 lots that Denise was walking through. So again, this is just the beginning. We're not at the financial side of it yet, but that has been analyzed for months by reading financial matters.
Reedy does a great job too. They did a lot of work for us prior. All the work on the fire territory too.
Did you say, Denise, that building standards were exceeding our gateway?
Yes, quite a bit. Yes,
Those went through the BZA. Okay.
they actually been continued about a year ago, I think, yeah, about a year ago, and they continued it out and came back and really enhanced the aesthetics, the exterior materials, the architectural features on that building. But yes, they did agree to quite a bit more of even beyond our gateway overlay district requirements.
So it will mirror what a downtown, one building would look like it had separate buildings that are put together with different features on it, brick, black trim windows.
And we feel that that is something that will kind of help steer our future development around that area to look and, similar to that. Our gateway corridor overlay, that is one of the big messages in that and goals in that plan. And so that will kind of create kind of a new development that will help guide that area to look, not that, to look similar, to those expectations. Yeah.
Any audience have any questions or comments? Online, sir.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Please.
We're talking about this girl.
Well, the 30-70 split and the remaining lots then that are not really part of the agreement at all then, and they're not part of a TIF right now either, is that correct?
Yeah, this process will establish the allocation area for those 2 hotels. Yeah. And then, but it is an agreement of this economic development agreement that the town would then get 100% of those 3 other outlots.
So there's not gonna be much incentive to develop that anytime soon. There's no,
Yeah, 3
Yeah.
hours or 2.
the three. Yeah, I don't know.
I think they'll.
They'll be in.
I think the roads will be in, they'll get
Yeah.
the hotels up and it'll just.
We anticipate those will probably
Yeah,
develop real
that
quick.
infrastructure's in place, which is.
Correct.
the most
Yes,
important.
yeah, and they are taking on 100% of all the infrastructure for the entire commercial site. So, yes, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I got to put it very carefully.
You come up here, come up here.
Up the podium, get your money's worth.
Well, it's great that you don't have a motel, because they're gonna help my student. They don't have to travel a long place for lodging. And in the process of listening to this, I learned about this very good creative financing that I might be able to use it in the future. So the question is, what is the total amount of the bond,
Little amount of what? And calculated, really information.
You don't have the total amount. And then I'd like to know,
The revenue projected to, based on all the assessed values, would be 3.5 million over a 25-year bond.
Okay, over 25 years.
Yeah.
So the 75% TIF tax incentive, the term is called incentive, you know what I call that. What's the total amount of that 25 years of incentive to that bond? Because the developer gonna get 25 years of 75% of the TIF tax dollar. So what is that total amount? You don't know,
So you talk about.
the developer gonna get 75% of the TIF money as a incentive. What is that total amount?
Yeah.
Is
So-
that equal to 3.5 million?
Yes, that is correct. That is just projection. That is if it is 100% built out based on the assessed values that went into the account.
So in other words,
Yes, and that's on about a $15 million.
So in other words, the developer get 3.5 million. The tax gonna pay for that 3.5 million. So basically, the developer got a pretty good deal.
But
So,
we didn't have to put in the streets, the water.
well,
sewers,
yeah, well, that's
roads.
fine, that's fine. Like I said, it's a learning
It's
process.
great.
I can use the same technique.
You're not asking questions, you're learning.
That's why I'm here to learn.
You should say us, man.
Yeah, so I can learn the same technique.
You should pay us.
Because he and I may want to build a university. The other thing is there any study done on the positive or negative effect on the downtown business? Because all the development outside the town, like when Indianapolis developed, they built 465, draw all the business out to the outside of the city. So is there any impact study on the downtown business, plus or minus?
We've had some consultants come in and look at the ground out here, what we have over there.
I mean, the
Well-
impact on the downtown business.
Well, I mean, the growth is out there. We don't have any land. There's nowhere to do anything downtown.
I know, but you
We don't
said
have
any
anywhere.
impact study, I don't care, but you said any impact study done,
I guess to answer that question is no.
okay.
Uh,
So due to the fact that they can have a lot of negative impact on the downtown business, I think the TIP money should be used to help the downtown business. Instead of giving it to the developer.
Well, it hasn't been used that way in the past.
I know, but
Like we said before, the TIF program was initiated to help that developer put in the infrastructure.
well, that's fine, I mean, that's fine, but again, it directly affect the downtown business.
Well, good, just go ahead.
Okay, that's my
Yeah.
question.
No, great point. And one thing I just want to make note is that all the tax revenue that is generated through this very creative financing mechanism, I agree. It's able to allow our community to be able to take those funds and to be able to support a lot of our initiatives, which included, like, say, for example, our downtown revitalization plan. Those came through TIF dollars. That is something that we have a lot of infrastructure projects that get funded for this. We have a lot of other improvements and amenities that are enhanced, throughout our community. Same thing that if, within these funds as well, they can support pickleball. I mean, we've got numerous types of community spaces and improvements that those tax dollars, do go and support. So that is something that in our downtown revitalization process was very vital and important, that we made sure that we created a good, strong foundation for our downtown businesses, because we do know that development's coming to the west. We want to make sure that as that development comes, that it doesn't negatively impact those business owners and the environment in the downtown area. So that's why us as a community and a plan commission established through the steering committee that we then have different tasks and objectives and steps that we want to make sure that we take to make sure that we continue to build and strengthen our downtown. So that is something that our planning department is going to be working on here this next year and getting a roadmap on how we can knock those out, because we want to see our downtown area strong and vital just as much as our business owners do. So, yeah. So it seems, I understand your concern, but there is a full circle effect to that. So kind of some reasoning. Yeah.
I can use the same technique.
Sure you can.
So what I can do, I say, hey, talk to the drone people. I'll apply for a grant to develop aerospace, flight place.
Sure. Let's just leave that, let's leave that alone.
Oh,
You're taking notes.
it's a good technology.
Any other questions or comments about it? About online accepting?
Nope.
Any more questions, comments? All right, thank you, Denise, nice job. I'll entertain a motion to approve 2026-1, approving economic development plan, the Heritage Hub, as the RDC has submitted. Thank you, Carol. I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. All those in favor of 2026-1, approving the economic development plan, Heritage Hub, submitted by the RDC, please say aye. Those opposed? Thank you. Resolution's passed. No other business tonight, so Denise, you have anything else?
And that's it.
Company? Hey, meeting adjourned. Thank you all for coming.